What is apartheid? We hear that word a lot in relation to food today. Well, actually, apartheid is segregation based on race. It's political, it's economic, it is social. However, it's nothing new in the Americas or in the United States of America. My family came from the Gullah Geechee territory, Florida, Georgia, and in most of that southern area. They had their own land. Based on the stories that my family have told me, they never had to process no processed food. Everything was made by scratch, and they were not sick as Black people are today. However, because of the Great Migration, which came about because of the reign of terror on Black people, we had the lynchings, the rapings, Ku Klux Klan, and other white supremacists, sort of like rim Black people out of the South, where they migrated north. Here they didn't have the land, and because of that, they could not farm the way they did. A lot of Black people became sick with diseases such as high blood pressure, stroke, cancer, and such as the like. As we know, when one group in society suffer, we all suffer. It's just like a pandemic. It spreads. If children are hungry, all the children are hungry, right? If one family needs food, everybody needs food.
Come back in 3 months is what they told me when I was 17 years old, and I reached out for help from multiple governmental agencies, multiple nonprofits. Despite being more than qualified on paper, I was too young to receive any type of services. They shut doors at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And even though the single mom is working 2-3 jobs and doesn't get off, but for an hour or two between the hours of 9 and 11 p.m., they're not available. They can't speak the language, but they look good on paper. And so when I found myself walking through the aisles of the grocery store with my child and a piece of fruit and that 35-cent ramen noodle, I decided that I was going to shift my paradigm and my narrative. My organization that I have now founded many moons later addresses these insecurities and these systematic injustices and the gaps in the system. I make sure that despite the suffering and the struggle that we may go through as an organization, we can provide for them. Grassroots organizations like my own and so many others, their stories are not unique. There is a system and it has loopholes, and we all know that. So why don't we just address those loopholes through funding for grassroots organizations and changing the stipulation, prioritizing connection to community, prioritizing justice, prioritizing those who represent the mission that is being written into legislation.